Questioning is a really important strategy, and we started talking about that yesterday. Anytime, really. I mean, think of a little kid as you're growing up. You're always questioning what's around you, what something is, and your parents feed you this information. And as you get this information, you add it to your brain, and your knowledge expands. When you're reading, questioning does a couple things. It helps you to helps you to focus your energy on what you're doing. It helps you think about what you're doing. It helps you have an inner conversation with yourself, because good readers, we have conversations with ourselves. And most of all, it helps you identify what you know as well as what you don't know, so that you can look for answers. Because sometimes what we know is okay, but it's more important sometimes to know what knowledge we're missing, so that we don't make an incomplete picture of the way we think something is. And we look for answers in order to make that picture complete. So one of the things that you guys had done yesterday is you looked at this reading at the end of the day, okay? And we had talked about more and more settlers were coming and how that was going to affect the natives, okay? So these pilgrims are, the pilgrims came, and then the Puritans are coming, and the Puritans are coming now by like the thousands, okay? And so that's going to greatly affect life in North America, in Massachusetts, with the natives that are living in that area, and in all of New England, because as the Puritans come in, they're going to continue to expand north, south, and then west. So some people were saying, well, I don't have any questions about what I've read. Like, it makes sense. Questioning is not about whether something makes sense. Questioning is about looking for information that the reading does not give you. Okay, we're only looking at like 2 pages here. They're not terribly full of information, so there's going to be a lot of things that are missing. So questioning does not show our weakness. Questioning shows our strength, because it shows that we're thinking about not just the information that is there, but also the information that is not there. Okay, so let's look at some of the things that you could have had questions about yesterday, because the information you were given was incomplete. In the first paragraph, it talks about more trees were cut down to make more houses. So there's a couple things here. More trees, so that must mean that trees were already cut down, and then how many were already cut down? Okay. Another question I could ask myself is, are the forests being destroyed? More houses, how many? What's the number of those houses? How many houses is more houses? Is it 10 houses? Is it 20 houses? Is it 100 houses? Okay, the settlers were taking over areas where the Wampanoag had always farmed, fished, and hunted. Well, here's this detail, but what is it not telling me? Where on earth are they hunting now? If the Pilgrims are using the land they have used for hunting, where are they hunting now? Those are all things that I am not being told, okay? And so it's super, super important to think about not just the things you're being told, but what are the things that you are not being told? Those are almost more important sometimes. So let's look at a few other things here. Also in that same paragraph, the pilgrim animals were trampling the natives' cornfields. So what are the natives doing about corn now? Is their corn gone? Are the pilgrims being punished for this? In the treaty that they had made with the pilgrims, there should be repercussions, so that if something happens, there's a consequence. But now that the Puritans are here, do they have to follow that same treaty? Are there any repercussions or consequences for the Puritans? Like, these are all questions that should be going through my head. So you'll notice that even in this first paragraph here, even though I know what it said and I can understand what it said, there's so much more that it does not tell me. And that's what the real purpose of questioning should be, is to get at not what it says, but to get at what it doesn't say. Okay? So let's look down here. So we're going to go down here to the second paragraph, okay? The Pilgrims and other colonists saw New England as an empty wilderness. When they arrived, there were no houses, roads, or stores like they used to in Europe. Okay, so didn't they know it wasn't going to look like Europe, or did they expect it to? Like, that's just kind of weird. They must have known. But as an empty wilderness, so it wasn't empty. Like, there were people there. So why, if there were people there, did they think that it was empty? What about them made them think that it was just there for them to take? Okay, so let's move on a little bit here. Americans were, okay, I gotta look from the bottom of this paragraph here. To them, and then go to the top of the page. To them, Native Americans were savages because they lived in a different way. Okay, so I might have a question, which is, to them, what does savage mean? And if they thought that Native Americans were savages, what did they really think about them? And were those things they thought true or were they made up? Okay, so it tells me that, but what does it not tell me? Okay, I want to know what the text does not tell me. And that's what I want to get through with questioning. So it says here, the Pilgrims believed they were special and that God wanted them to, oops, sorry, I messed that up, and that God wanted them to claim the land in America for their own. So if the Puritans or the Pilgrims thought they were special, does that mean they didn't think the natives were special? Does that mean they didn't think that the natives had a right to that land? Okay, there are all sorts of questions here that I do not have answers to and that the text is not telling me. These are the things that I want you to be thinking about as you're reading. I want you to become critical thinkers, and I don't want you to just think about what's there. I want you to think very carefully about what is not there.